Now, dust is yet to settle in the highly disputed governorship election, which took place in Enugu State, southeast of Nigeria, on the 18th of March 2023. The People's Democratic Party, Peter Mba, was declared winner of the contest by the Independent National Electoral Commission after almost a week following the suspension of results collation because of a dispute over voting in the Enugu East local government area of the state. But in a statement issued earlier this week by its spokesman, Ken Asogwa, the Labour Party sought to make a case around the nexus between what happened in Enugu State and what happened in Adamawa State in the Northeast, where the election management body quickly intervened to stop the resident electoral commissioner from progressing in error regarding the final outcome of a supplementary governorship election. Now we have Ken Asogwa who joins us here to have a quick chat. Ken, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. We're still yet, or this dust is still yet to settle from the governorship elections we had on the 18th. For Enugu State, we know that the Labour Party has been crying foul that that particular one local government, the swing local government from the 17 local governments in the state that had issue, that ultimately decided it for Peter Mba and the People's Democratic Party, you are claiming that that was done in error. And you're drawing parallels from the Adamawa election. Talk to us about it. What's really the case right now? And what are you presenting or what are you pleading to INEC to do?
Yeah, thank you so much, Aaron. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yes, like you rightly said in your intro, yeah, we are trying to draw some parallel between what happened in Adamawa and what took place in Enugu. You know, if you compare the both of them, you will see that what happened in Adamawa was even a child's play compared to what happened in Enugu State. There was travesty of justice. People came out on the 18th of March to vote for their preferred candidates, and some persons sat down somewhere and decided to truncate that process. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. Yes, I appreciate the fact that you made mention of Nkanu East local government in your intro as a place where there was overvoting. But even beyond that, in the entire state, there are malpractices here and there, and I will prove that to you before I leave this studio. Now, what happened, and I need to draw your attention to something and draw the attention of Nigerians to actually what transpired in Enugu. Enugu State has 17 local governments. And when they finished voting, they began collation. Now, they collated results for 16 local governments. When they finished collating results for 16 local governments, the candidate of the Labour Party, Honorable Chijioke Doga, was leading the candidate of the PDP by more than 11,000 votes. Now, remaining only one local government. That local government that was remaining was the local government of the PDP candidate. That is in Nkanu East local government. So, now, on the day of the election, that local government had 15,000 accredited voters that came out, the people who INEC captured in their beavers as people who were accredited to vote on that day. So now, when the results came out from that local government, PDP miraculously, illogically, and by some wonders, turned out a total number of 30,000 votes for the PDP candidate in a local government that had only 15,000 accredited voters and only allocated a paltry 1,800 votes to the Labour Party candidate. Now, when they brought this to the collation center, we protested and we said no, that you cannot have 15,000 accredited voters and turn out 30,000 votes. How did you do this? What type of magic is this? So it was on that note that the chairman of INEC constituted a committee that he charged the committee to look into our arguments and our protests. Now the committee came to Abuja, sat in Abuja, and what they now did, they said they have looked into that, and they, on their own, so much they slashed some votes and directed Professor Iwe, who is the chief returning officer, to go back to Enugu and announce these results that they slashed and padded and did all manner of works on the panel beating and all that in Abuja. The man came to Enugu, back to Enugu, and said that this result I am announcing what has been handed over to me in Abuja to come and announce. Now, they returned the PDP winner against the provisions of the Electoral Act that says that when there is manifest overvoting, what you do, Section 51, subsection 2 says, when there is overvoting, the returning officer shall identify where the polling units where they are overvoting and cancel. But they never did that. They sat down in Abuja. So that's what I'm telling you. So when we are comparing what happened in Adamawa, that is where I will now draw the parallel. When you're comparing what happened in Adamawa to what happened in Enugu, you see that there was a wreck. The resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa came to usurp power that did not belong to him. You know, so that is exactly what happened in Enugu. The chairman of INEC sat down in Abuja, invited the parties, and usurped the powers of the returning officer in Enugu, and usurped the powers of the Electoral Act, and literally sat down in Abuja and allocated votes and slashed votes. It's never recorded anywhere. It is not provided in this Electoral Act that the chairman of INEC has powers to constitute that committee. The only committee envisaged by the Electoral Act is the committee that is provided for in Section 65 of the Electoral Act. When the results are declared and the eventual winner is returned and somebody is dissatisfied, you can protest by writing a petition to INEC to review that within 7 days. That is the only way INEC chairman has the powers to constitute a committee that can review the results as declared. But in what happened in Enugu was that before the declaration, he set up a committee that sat down in Abuja without even the presence of the Labour Party agents. They sat down on their own, slashed votes, padded votes, and did all manner of things they did there, and directed somebody to go back to Enugu and announce it. Now, let me blow your mind, Aaron. You know, now away from Nkanu East local government, because when we discuss this Nkanu East local government, people will think when we over discuss it. People will think that was just the only charade that took place in Enugu. That wasn't the only charade. There were things that happened in so many local governments where they did not conduct election. Violence took place in several local governments. In Udenu local government, for example, in more than 7 polling units, they did not conduct election there on account of violence. Now, people who they have about more than 7,000 registered voters with PVC in that local government. If you go to Iweze South local government, there were about three polling units that they did not conduct election. Those polling units have about 3,000 plus registered voters with PVCs collected in those places. Now, this cuts across the entire state, 17 local governments in Enugu state, and there are about 21,150 people who did not cast their votes on account of violence. Now, let me take you to somewhere now. Now, the man who was returned as the winner of that election was purportedly declared winner with 160,000 votes. Now, the candidate of the Labour Party came second by their own declaration with 157,000 votes, meaning that the candidate of the PDP won by about 3,000 votes. Now, there are about 21,000 persons with PVCs who did not cast their votes, and they shut them out. They stopped them from voting in this election. And the Electoral Act says that when the margin of lead is lower than the places where you have not, they are required to, people have not voted, that you are mandated to conduct elections in those places, because the outcome of those elections will change, it has the potentials to change what the margin of lead the other person was having. They did not do that. Now, let me tell you some other things. In Udenu local government, INEC refused to declare the House of Assembly candidates. Same thing in South local government. They refused to declare those House of Assembly seats. They said those House of Assembly seats were inconclusive. This was an election that took place simultaneously. The State Assembly and governorship took place simultaneously. Now, they declared those ones inconclusive and said that they were going to do a rerun. But they curiously rushed and declared that of governorship. Now, when they realized that doing a rerun for those places produce an eventual winner was going to affect the governorship, because these elections took place at the same time. So if you do a rerun for the state assembly elections, you are going to automatically do rerun for the governorship. And they had bungled the governorship. They had gone to declare results there when there was supposed to be a rerun that would take place, a supplementary election rather, that would take place to produce the winners for the assembly seat. Now, the INEC quickly said they overruled themselves, came back and declared those results without the supplementary election again held. So this is one aspect of it. Now, there are several aspects, and I will take you back to the other elections in that state, because you said that Labour Party was crying foul in your intro, and I need to tell you something, Aaron. You see, while we're crying, our weeping is highly justified. I will tell you what transpired in other elections they held in Enugu between February and this March. Now,
all right, Ken, if I may come in. Ken,
let me just land on this final point.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me just land on this final point. Now, the senatorial election in Enugu has, of course, every state has 3 senatorial seats. Labour Party won 2 out of the 3 senatorial seats in Enugu. Now, Enugu has 8 House of Reps seats. Labour Party won 7 out of the 8 House of Reps seats in Enugu. Now, House of Assembly has 24 seats. Labour Party won 14 out of the 24 seats. So where is the path to victory for PDP in this election? If you take into account the other elections held in this same state, you see that PDP, the states totally rejected PDP in every of the elections held in this state.
All right, Ken, please, let me just ask you. Very good, Ken. You have your facts and figures, no doubt, and of course your observations as well. But let's take a look at it this way. Since you're not getting the positive response you would have liked from INEC, where do you go from here? Are you going to the Election Petition Tribunal, or how will this play out in the long run?
Yeah, you see, Nee, thank you so much. This question is very valid. We are in court already. We are in tribunal already. And I understand that I'm a lawyer, and I understand that INEC has become functus official, having announced these results. The time for them to act, as we say by the Electoral Act, they didn't act when we wrote to them to act within 7 days. Because when they eventually returned the man as a winner, we protested again. We wrote a petition, as we say by Section 65 of the Electoral Act, for them to review it. They refused to even reply our petition. Now, we know that that chapter is foreclosed. That angle, that window of INEC revisiting this thing is foreclosed. But we are appealing to Nigerians. What we are saying is this Adamawa issue that just brought this thing back to front burner. Because we are saying if this could happen, the same thing that Enugu zone is even more. Okay, let me even tell you something again, Nee. You see, that result that even they eventually declared, the result that they accepted and they eventually agreed to declare, Labour Party still won that in that election by that same result. That result they declared, when we did our own computations, the same result they declared. When we did our own computation, there was mathematical error. It's just like somebody, that 2 plus 2 is 4. But in this case, somebody just said 2 plus 2 is 5 and asked the return officer to go and announce it. So even if I should take them by the results that they eventually announced, we won this election. So, but we are now saying that we are bringing this into the attention of Nigerians to see the travesty of justice, the injustice perpetrated in Enugu State. We are bringing this into the court of public opinion for people to see what they did in Enugu. Somebody won election, Enugu State people. There is a reason why they chose Honorable Chisho Kedoga to be their governor. People should start respecting the wishes of Nigerians. People have a reason. The people who coined this democracy and felt that representative democracy should come through people. People should vote for an election to elect who will represent them. They are not stupid people.
Right.
Because people should be able to have the freedom to determine who leads them.
Ken, before we go, I would like to find out from you, because
I'm here.
When you're drawing parallels between what happened in Enugu State and in Adamawa State briefly, talk to me, because in Adamawa State, INEC distanced itself from the rogue wreck. Are you saying that INEC is complicit in this electoral malfeasance?
INEC is complicit at the highest level of INEC. Yes, in straight answer to your question, INEC is complicit at the highest level of INEC. And Aaron, let me tell you something. You know, I'm not supposed to even say this one, you know, but I have to say this. Even the guy that was eventually returned as a winner, on 23rd November 2022, a law firm called Omas and Partners wrote a letter to the NYSC to seek clarifications, confirmation, and validation of the NYSC certificate that candidate submitted to INEC. And NYSC, if the Nigerians can see this, this is a letter from National Youth Service, NYSC. This is a letter saying that NYSC does not know that certificate. They repudiated that certificate. So this is forgery on its own. I'm not even talking about the election anymore. This is forgery. Now, this is the NYSC is submitted. This is a certified true copy of the NYSC. If you look at it, you see INEC certified true copy. You will see that INEC received by INEC for election 2023 election. This person, the INEC declared governor-elect in Enugu, submitted this to INEC as his NYSC discharge certificate. Now, this law firm wrote to NYSC to say, did this certificate emanate from you? NYSC replied and said, this certificate, we don't know about it. What else can we say about this? You know, so this whole thing that is happening in Enugu, these are the things people put together and decided that, look, they cannot have this kind of character to represent them, to be their governor. And they chose somebody they wanted to represent them, to govern the state. And somebody sat in Abuja and said that, no, that it is we in Abuja here, a panel of 3 or 4 persons, that will determine who will govern Enugu state. It is never done anywhere. It is because I saw what happened in Adamawa, and the entire nation condemned it. Your sister organization, this newspaper, I love the word they used. They said this is a new law in our democratic process. What happened in Enugu is a lower bar. They lowered the bar completely in Enugu. What happened in Enugu is a bigger shame, more disgraceful to Nigeria than what happened in Adamawa State. Right, what happened in Adamawa State is, look, you are asking me if the INEC, whether INEC is complicit. Yes. The man who heads INEC, the chairman of INEC, usurped the powers of the returning officer in Enugu by going ahead to constitute a committee that sat in Abuja to slash and allocate votes against the provisions of the Electoral Act.
All right, Ken Asogwa, a lawyer, and of course, he is a spokesperson for the Labour Party in Enugu. We'd like to thank you for your perspective on the Enugu elections, and hopefully you will get some form of justice regarding the polls there.